All right. Ready? Hopefully the mic works well this way. The original Libertalia, I almost said Libertalia. Oh boy. Hello everyone and welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games.
And
board gaming thing.
Yes, did you forget? Kind of sounded like
I
you
say
forgot.
the same thing every time and everyone says that I'm like blah 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 blah. So I gotta change it up and I never know how to change it up. Sometimes I just pause for a second for dramatic effect. That's why.
I delete the pauses.
What am I doing here then?
We are here today to do another Done Well, Do Better video. And today's Done Well, Do Better is going to be on Libertalia Winds of Galecrest from Stonemaier Games. So this is the new reimagined, updated version of Libertalia. The original Libertalia came out in 2012. It was all about pirates, like pirate ships, pirates, yar, treasure, all of that stuff.
Booty.
Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere. This updated version is still pirates, but it's sky pirates and airships, not blimps. First time Jeff told me about it, he's like, it's all blimps.
A blimp is an airship, though.
Yeah, it is, but there's no blimps.
I didn't say blimps. I said airships.
The Goodyear blimp doesn't show up.
You said blimp.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Ugh.
This game was sent to us for review from Stonemaier Games, so thank you to Stonemaier for sending this to us. As per usual with our Done Well, Do Betters, we are going to go into an overview of the game, just a brief overview, tell you a little bit what it's about. Then we are going to go into our Done Well, what the game does well, and then our Do Better, what it could improve on. Right?
I hate my hair.
Oh my god, it's fine. Anyways, let's get started with the overview. Libertalia Winds of Galecrest. In the world of Galecrest, sky pirates set sail on the winds in search of adventure, treasure, and glory. As an admiral, you command a vast and varied crew, but so do your rivals sailing other ships in the pirate fleet. Each day, the fleet lands on a different island where you'll send a crew member to collect your share of the loot, hoping they'll return to boost your growing group of characters. Libertalia can play from 1 to 6 players. There is an Automa version in this, and there has been some updates in it from the original. Mainly the reputation track has been updated, as well as there's a 2-player variant that adds in a character that sits along a midshipman that sits along the board, kind of plays as a 3rd character. So those are really the biggest changes, besides the fact that it's sky pirates instead of sea pirates, and then of course, yes, the art.
The original Libertalia was very straightforward. Every game you played was similar. The booty tiles all did the same thing. In this one, there's variability with what the booty tiles can do, so there's a little bit more, in my opinion, a little bit more replayability. Game
mechanics, it's pretty much strictly a card-based game. Everybody starts out with the same deck of cards. One person is selected to shuffle their deck. They select 6 cards, and then everybody else pulls those same 6 cards out of their deck, and that's your starting hand. One at a time, players will lay down a card. The cards get laid down in sequential order. If 2 people play the same card, that's when you go to the reputation track to determine who goes first.
You're going to take dusk, dawn, and evening actions. What's interesting in Libertalia is, yes, you might play cards in sequential order, but the dusk triggers happen left to right, and then the dawn triggers will happen right to left, and then the evening actions are just a persistent trigger that happens. So it's just an interesting take on playing cards down, and it's not just about playing the highest leveled or highest ranked card.
No.
There's certain triggers that will happen at certain points, and it's just really interesting to have that kind of left to right, right to left, and then evening mechanic happen.
Which allow you to do different things, trigger your cards, and gain loot and booty. The game is played over 3 voyages, and then whoever has the most points at the end wins. That's the game. Let's jump into our done well. What does this game do well?
I've always been a fan of Libertalia, and I think what this has done well is kept what I enjoyed the most about Libertalia and just improved art, improved the components that are in the game, and I do prefer the reputation track that it's implemented. So in the original Libertalia, tiebreakers were literally, each card had a little like silver coin attached to it, and if you had the higher one, then you broke ties. I do prefer the reputation track in this because it's A, breaking ties, and B, you can move up or down the reputation track to the point where you're actually gaining or losing doubloons, which is victory points in this game. So if you're at the top of the reputation track, track and then you continue to gain reputation, you actually will gain victory points. You'll gain doubloons, and I thought that was a really cool addition to this game. And the art, in my opinion, is way better. You know, the original Libertalia was a little bit more, you know, traditional pirate themed, a little bit darker, I guess. I actually prefer the more colorful version.
And another thing that's different that we didn't mention is the board flips. So Jeff did mention that like the different loot and booty tiles do different things based on whether you have it on the light side or the dark side, and then you can mix and match them. So I think that's really cool. So on the light side, everything does kind of like minor bad things or like good things. And then when you flip it to the dark side, things kind of get worse and worse depending on what booty tiles you're picking up. So I think that's a really cool addition to the game. I love the art. I know the art apparently has been very divisive for people. Some people absolutely hate it, and I don't understand why. I don't know. I really like it.
Art's very subjective.
And it's like animals. I love animals, so that's probably a big thing.
I like how colorful it is. It's very nice.
And another thing that I think this game does well, it's not, well, it kind of is. It's like that simultaneous play where you're picking a card and you kind of have to remember like, okay, well, Jeff played, you know, the Brute last time, so I know he doesn't have that anymore, so maybe I'm going to play the Brute knowing that he only has higher cards, so I might be able to get rid of his card. So there's a little bit of like reading the table and trying to remember what everybody still has in their hand. So I think that's really fun part of this game too. And I just kind of like the fact that you can totally get screwed over. There's like a big element of take that. So if somebody removes your card, you don't get the loot tile that you want, which seems to happen a lot in the 2-player game because of that midshipman. And I like that they added that in.
I was going to throw that in after we're done.
Yeah. So I think that that kind of gives it an extra little like, oh, when you're playing in a 2-player game. I also like in this one, everybody gets their own personal like victory point tracker instead of having like in the original, there was that big board where you're like going up and it was a little bit more confusing.
It was a little bit clunky.
And the reputation track in this is cool because it adds another element to the game instead of just like, well, here's this random card. You can influence the reputation track to make yourself go up or down to give yourself a greater benefit. And
actually, I forgot to mention on the reputation track, like it actually impacts how many doubloons you'll start the next voyage with, which is really interesting. So the higher you're up on the reputation track, it's a benefit to you, but you're not going to start with as many doubloons to start the next voyage. So it's a little, you know, tug of war, I guess, between do I want to move up the reputation track? Do I not want to? I really enjoyed that they added that element. And again, to Jamie's point, I love that they added the midshipman to make 2-player like a viable player count, especially for us. I would quickly caveat that with this game is better. I would say like 4+ in my opinion. It played really well at 2. We had a ton of fun with it, but the best experience with Libertalia is going to be at higher player counts. There's just more cards going out. There's more interaction. It's just,
Yeah, and this game just in general, both this one and the original have super high replayability.
Yeah.
Because you get a deck of cards and you're shuffling them up and you're only using, what's 6 times 3? You're only using 18 cards throughout the game because each round you're pulling 6 cards. You're going to have a ton of variability. It depends on what you play. It depends on when you play it. All of those things. Gameplay is fun. It's quick. This game does not take a long time to play. The rounds go by pretty fast. The other thing I want to say about Done Well is the components in this game versus the original. The loot tiles are, I don't know what they were in the original. Were they just cardboard?
They were just cardboard,
But now it's like Azul, chunky Azul tiles,
I don't know
which I love. I think they're acrylic. So another thing that I think it does really well is the rules. It's easy to learn, it's easy to teach, and it's on BGA. The original game is on BGA, so that's actually how we learned. There's not a lot of additional rules to this one, so.
I don't teach games, and I taught this game.
Now, in terms of do better, so some things that we think this game could do better, I will say Jeff mentioned the 2-player variant being added definitely does help a lot, but I still don't think this game is optimal at 2 players.
No, definitely not.
I think you want to play this with at least 3 or 4. I think 4 is probably the sweet spot to not make it too long of a game, but to be able to like challenge each other more, because really in a 2-player game, whatever I play, I'm only ever directly hitting or influencing what Jeff's doing. And sometimes it just felt like a little bit of a back and forth and not as much of a fun way. So I prefer to play this at a higher player count.
Yeah, I mean, I stated that. I do think it plays better at 4+. I think I enjoyed it a bit more than you did at 2. The reason why I do enjoy it at 2 is you can overtly like focus on what the other person's doing in order to like kind of stop them. Because what can happen in a 4-player game is one person can kind of run away with it a little bit. It's very difficult difficult in Libertalia to come back from like a crazy big round for one person. Like if someone is kind of just left alone to their own devices and, you know, they get the right cards out and they score a ton and win one round, it's very difficult to come back. But unless everyone else is in agreement that it's like, okay, now I need to focus on you, which hopefully would happen. I just really liked the control I had in 2-player where I could be like, all right, I know what Jamie has in her hand. I just like that mind game a little bit more. It becomes a little bit more party-esque at higher player counts, which isn't a bad thing.
This is a very high interaction game.
Very high interaction game. There's a lot of
banter. Which is a do done well, not a do better.
A lot of banter around the table. A lot of like, there's been some really cool moments that we've had in this game that it's become one of my favorites that I've discovered in the past like few months.
Yeah. So what about do better?
Right, I kind of skipped over that, didn't I? Oh, got one. The only thing I think I wish was in this game was there is a little like graveyard tile. I wish there was some equivalent tile for
your den or your ship.
Yeah, for like your ship, like who is currently on your ship.
Like a player mat or
like some sort of like
there was something like that in the original game.
Yeah, you had a den, I think, that you could, you know, play your cards out on. It's really nitpicky. It doesn't really
affect gameplay.
It's really a personal thing because I prefer when games have like a play mat and stuff because I'm not organized. I'm not an overly organized person, so to have a tool or, you know, support in that helps me visualize things in front of me. But that would be the only thing. I really, really enjoyed Libertalia. I enjoyed the original, and I've had a ton of fun with this one. So.
Yeah. So final thoughts on this. I think we both really like this game. I prefer this one just because of how colorful it is.
I do too. Yep.
And the variation of the loot tiles and the fact that the characters are all animals. It's just a fun game. Like this is not a game that you take seriously. This is not a game that
like in terms of like heavy strategy.
Yeah, heavy strategy. That's kind of where I was going. Like I'm not mad when I get screwed over in this game.
Yeah, it's just a fun experience. Like, it's a fun experience.
Especially when like you both play the same card and then you have to look at the reputation track and you're like, ugh, like why don't I have better reputation? Anyways, I love this game. I would definitely recommend that you give it a try. If it sounds like something that you're interested in, feel free to try it on BGA first.
Yeah, and that's the beauty too. You can give it a try for free on BGA and see if it's up your alley. I really, really like the board presence of this game versus the original is, in my opinion, far better.
Colorful and bright it is. Yeah. Beautiful. And blimps are way cooler than pirate ships.
Loved it.
Loved it.
So good.
Loves it. Anyways, I think that's all that we have for Libertalia in our Done Well, Do Better. Interested to hear your thoughts if you've had a chance to try this yet. If you played the original, love to hear what you guys think about it. But if you're interested in buying board games, you know where you should go.
Your local friendly gaming store.
Friendly local gaming store would be even better. For us here
I always mess that up.
Yeah, you do. For us here in Halifax, that is
Boardroom Game Cafe.
Exactly. We thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Bye.
Later days. We are not center. Shifted.
I did?
Yeah. See, now you're good, but you kind of did this. Yeah. Just like that. Look. So I was like this, and you've shifted this way a bit. Because you turned to talk to me.
We're never in the center, and it's my most annoying thing.
You know what we do before the next video?
Center ourselves.
We put the piece of tape up. I like crack as I walk.
When you just said that, you said, I like crack, and it sounded like you were talking about drugs. And I was like, okay. I don't. Jeff, why do you do that? Like, what's the purpose? And besides annoying me.
That is the purpose.
A year that I will write on the screen, or Jeff will look it up.
Libertalia. Just wrote in Libertalia.
Libertalia. It's
2012.
Different. Lid's not on, right?
Can we just fix the lid, like, while we do this?
Why? 10 years later, we're celebrating the foundations of the original... I don't need to say any of that, do I?
Sure don't.
I'll just read the last sentence in case I said it weird. Different island where... Why can't I do that? I probably said it fine the first time. Yeah, I want to flip it. Is this even the right way? Yep.
I'll let that finish just in case it was on so long.
Yeah. I'm dying.